Here come the boys. Y'all ready to go swimming, baby? Come on. Give it up. Get out of that water. I tried telling y'all, it's swim lessons, baby.
Welcome to Minnesota Vikings Week here on Swim Lessons, the podcast. I'm your host, Dallas Hansen. My guest today is a four-time national champion for the North Dakota State Bison. He went undrafted, played a few years for the Jacksonville Jaguars, played a few years for the Minnesota Football Vikings, and is now a member of the coaching staff for the Minnesota Vikings, and somebody you need to know if you're a football fan. That is Ben Ellefson. Ben is one of those human beings. When I first got to meet him, I didn't know him from Adam. He was just, kind of through a text chain, got to meet him. And as we sat and talked, I kept on thinking throughout the conversation, this guy is going to be one day a major part of the National Football League, whether it's in coaching, something like that. He just knows the game well, very well spoken. And I truly enjoyed hearing about his journey from winning 4 national championships with the Bison to going through the NFL, coming from a small town in Minnesota, and now in the big time in the National Football League. And I appreciate Ben taking the time. And I also want to give a quick shout out and thank you to the Minnesota Vikings for allowing me to come into their training facility, the Taj Mahal, if you will, of training facilities. It's a beautiful place. They gave me a tour of it, and really appreciate them letting me conduct these podcasts in their facility. But before we get to that, we got to talk about our sponsors because they make this all possible. And the first one is PSP Network. It's game day. Get up. They've been promoting local student athletes for a very long time. And right now they're in the heart of football and volleyball. And every week on PSP Network, they post their schedule of events, links, everything you need to their live video sports coverage. Nick Holberg and his team do a fantastic job on everything they do there. Find them online. That's psp.network or on YouTube at PSP Network. And again, they do volleyball, football. I think they're having 3 games this Friday for football. They've got 2 volleyball games Tuesday and Thursday of this week. So a lot of fun, and make sure you check them out also on YouTube at PSP Network. Thank you, PSP Network. And next up, I love these guys. That's Game Day Media. More than a game. Your leader in live video sports coverage in Northwest North Dakota. At Game Day Media, our goal is to expose, support, and promote the best athletes that North Dakota has to offer. Subscribe to our channel at Game Day Media ND on YouTube, or find us on Facebook at Game Day Media for schedules, quick links to games, stats, everything you need to follow your favorite student athlete. And also make sure you enable alerts and make sure to watch for upcoming events Game Day Media hosts. And you can find us all over the internet, specifically on Facebook. They do a lot of posting, and really appreciate Randy and David Peterson for allowing me to do some sports broadcasting with the great and powerful Game Day Media. And it's football season. Fall is my favorite season. And I love getting together with friends, getting some wings, getting a few brews, and watching football in a good atmosphere. And there's a place in Northwest North Dakota that has the best atmosphere for that, and it's River's Edge Bar and Grill. They're in Williston, North Dakota, and they are known for offering the best happy hour in town, providing unbeatable deals in a lively atmosphere. Guests can also enjoy a variety of entertaining activities, including bingo, trivia, and the very popular Name That Tune. Come on down to River's Edge for great drinks, great food, and great fun. And hey, here's our next sponsor, and somebody you should know, and it's since BSN Sports. Since 1972, BSN Sports has helped area sports teams look their best as they strive for their goals and dreams. They provide apparel, uniforms, and equipment for teams in nearly every sport. Local service with a national reach, that is BSN Sports. Contact your local BSN Sports representative for more information. BSN Sports is a proud sponsor of Swim Lessons, the podcast. Thank you, BSN Sports. And last but not least, before we get to Ben, we got to talk about Glosso Angus. Glosso Angus, a proud sponsor of Swim Lessons. They're your premier source for registered Black Angus cattle since 1973. Glosso Angus cattle showcase dominance, durability, and docility, and they're built to thrive on the northern plains. Check them out at Glosso, that's GLASOE Angus.com. Without further ado, I give you a member of the Minnesota Football Vikings coaching staff, Ben Ellefson. What's up, Ben? Thanks for doing this, man.
Appreciate you having me.
So this training facility where we're doing the podcast out, is this one of the nicest facilities you've ever seen?
Yeah, I guess the only other place I can compare it to is Jacksonville, and they've done a bunch of remodeling, things like that. That was before or after I was there. So yes, I guess in a short answer, you got everything you need. I live probably 20 minutes away, so it's not too bad. Traffic's not too bad, but yeah, everything's here at campus. You got 3 fields, indoor, great food and everything. So yeah, it's a good setup.
Yeah, right. When I walked in, they gave me my badge and offered me cookies and everything. It was awesome. Before we get too deep into this, I'm a big Bison guy. I love North Dakota State. You've obviously played there 4 years, 4 straight national championships in the FCS. Kind of knew Frisco like the back of your hand. I want you to take us back. So explain where you're from, and then kind of give us a little highlighted high school career, and then let's go college.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm from Holly, Minnesota. So I grew up 30 minutes from Fargo. Recruiting wise, kind of started to happen junior, senior year. I wanted to play basketball in college.
Really?
Yeah.
What position?
Kind of
a flex?
Yeah, and that was kind of the thing is like,
Yeah.
where am I at? Because I'm 6'3", kind of maxed out there, and so started getting recruited a little bit more for football, and just because of the body type and everything and whatnot. But yeah, I wanted to play basketball. Ended up started getting recruiting a lot for football. Kind of went that route. It's kind of a funny story. My dad and I made a bet, in high school. If I got a Division I scholarship, he'd buy me a moped. Because we
Nice.
we go to NDSU games and we see all these guys on mopeds, or the University of Minnesota, all these mopeds, and so that was kind of a fun bet we had growing up, and actually ended up happening. So he got me one when I went to NDSU, committed to NDSU. So it was pretty fun. But yeah, no, got recruited. Local schools, a lot of FCS schools, Air Force, Wyoming,
Nice.
Purdue was probably the biggest one.
Okay.
But it was super late in the game, and I already committed to NDSU. Obviously, winning and wanting to be a part of a winning program and championship and tradition was a huge aspect of that, and close to home. So I decided to go there. And that obviously that first year is probably always kind of a shock to a lot of guys coming in. And so redshirted, most guys redshirt when they go to NDSU, and so did that. Gained a lot of skill and ability, and kind of learned what it's like to be in that program, and kind of went from there and had a good career there. I think I ended with 16 touchdowns or something like that. And had a good experience there, learned a lot, and then got an opportunity undrafted to Jacksonville, and was there for a little bit, got claimed here to Minnesota, played for a couple years, had some injury stuff, and decided to hang it up. And so here we are now, got an opportunity to be on the coaching staff with a great group of guys, and very personable, very knowledgeable and smart guys, and so it's been a blessing to be able to be part of that.
Who was the head coach at NDSU, and was it Kleiman?
Yeah, Kleiman.
Okay.
Yep.
What was he like in the recruiting process? Because obviously Kansas State now, very successful head coach. Like, explain to us what he's like in a nutshell.
Yeah. No, he kind of like we were talking about earlier. He's a player's coach.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the recruiting stuff. He Coach Polasek, who's now the head coach at NDSU, and then Tyler Roll was my tight ends coach.
A legend.
A legend, yes.
Dude, what's
The Diesel.
Roll like?
I know. He's like Coach P. He's just as intense. Just he maximizes you, and that's I gave a lot of respect and everything to him for where I've gotten, just because of how much he pushed me to be the best that I could be. And he was, like I said earlier, when I was a freshman, he was on me. He's on you. He's going to push you hard, but I'm glad he did, because it helped me get where I'm at now. And so, very intense guy, energetic, enthusiastic, like all the above. So, it was a great experience. We still, stay in contact and talk pretty much weekly.
Yeah.
But like I said, Kleiman's players coach, all those guys, they're going to push you, they're going to maximize you to uphold the tradition of what NDSU football is, and that's something that's pretty cool, because a lot of us now still are going to be friends for life and everything, and have that special bond with it. So
What'd you think of the Paul Sec hiring? I mean, we were talking a little bit before we hopped on about, how kind of intense he is, but yet he knows the game of football extremely well.
Yeah.
But what did you think? Because I know Tyler Roll was also in the mix a little bit there.
Right.
So what did you think of the Paul Sec hiring?
Right. I think it's a good hire. He understands the tradition, like I said, and the program and the culture and the community. I think he's done a really good job so far in bringing in fundraising and things like that. And so getting people to buy in, just because people want to be a part of that. They see his energy and his passion for it. And so I think he's going to do really well there, and excited for those guys.
Okay, so you come in as a freshman. Did you redshirt at all? You did redshirt.
Yep,
okay,
yep.
So and I just looked at the roster a little bit, but we had Christian Watson, we had Easton Stick, kind of the big highlights there. Did you know those guys pretty well, and explain your relationship there with those two?
Yeah, Easton actually, he hosted me on my official visit.
Wow.
When I was coming in, and so got a good connection there with him, and we'll still talk. We're still buddies. Checking on each other and everything. But he's a great dude. Christian was a couple years younger than me. He's played with him for a couple of years, and obviously he's doing well. He's done well for himself. But yeah, we've had quite a few guys have a lot of success coming through NDSU. So it's been pretty cool to be a part of that.
So your first year, you're a redshirt freshman. You guys go on a great run all the way to Frisco. Explain kind of, if you remember, like what that season was like, kind of knowing, okay, wow, this is NDSU. This is the Fargo Dome. I'm on a great team. We've got a chance to win a natty. What was that like to come from, kind of a small town Minnesota to now, hey, whoa, here we go?
Right. I mean, it becomes real, like obviously as a red shirt, you're not playing or anything like that. And, I think that was before the rule, you could play 3 or 4 games before and keep your red shirt, so I didn't play, mostly just practice, and giving looks and such. But, still be a part of that and get to go down to Frisco and be in the stands or on the sideline or whatever it was, and to experience that first championship for myself and my, my teammates is, it's, I don't know really how to describe it.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those things you just have to experience, and very, very grateful for that, and to be a part of 4 of those is a surreal thing, because a lot of people will ask me, like, well, oh, you went to NDSU, oh, how many championships? And I'll say 4, and they're like, they look at me sideways, and it's just, you kind of forget, just because you've done it a couple times, but like you can't take those things for granted, and they're very special. The rings and stuff are at my parents' house, in a safe place, locked away, but break them out every once in a while to look at them. But yeah.
Is there one that sticks out in your mind? One of those championships?
Probably just that senior year one against James Madison, just because it was, we were seniors, and that class and everything, it just means a little bit more. So. Yeah.
Was there a certain pressure that you felt going into that senior? Like, hey, I won it 3, I want to be a 4th, but winning 4 games in a row is tough, but 4 championships is, almost insurmountable.
Right. There was the 2016 year. We ended up losing to James Madison in the semifinals at the Fargo Dome. And so just remembering that feeling of not getting there and, not achieving that, and not wanting to be, the senior class that doesn't, win. And, so go to the senior year, we just come off of one, and, you want to continue that and everything, but you can't put pressure on yourself. I think there's just, there's an expectation and, a standard. And as long as you meet that standard and, trust that process, things will shake out how they're supposed to.
So Christian Watson, you were the same age, is that right?
No, he's a couple years younger.
He's a couple years younger.
Yep.
Did you know, like, when you were watching him in practice, like, damn, this guy's a baller, like he's gonna have a chance at the next level? Or what was he like in practice?
Yeah, he's a freak of nature. His athleticism and his abilities that he has, running jet sweeps. I remember there's one jet sweeper, around the right edge, and he ends up hurdling a guy on the opposing sideline, and I'm just sitting there like, whoa, like this guy's, he's different, his ability to, jump high point balls and things like that. He's special. And so it's, like I said, it's fun to see him do his thing in Green Bay. I know we're in the Vikings facility, but I'm a diehard Chiefs fan. Yeah. And last year for Christmas, my girlfriend's family got me tickets to Lambeau, which is a great venue. Mm-hmm. And it was Packers Chiefs. And I witnessed Watson like backhand slap the Chiefs and just ran all over him. Like, it sucks, but he's a Bison, so it's all good. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's talk a little bit more about Easton. I mean, because what he's done in the league is kind of under the radar, but some people say a backup quarterback is like one of the best jobs in the NFL. And he came in last year, had the one play, but he's still the backup to Justin Herbert. What does he say about Herbert? What's he said about his time in the league, and what can you share with us?
Yeah, no, he's a good guy. He's he's smart. He's a young guy. He's talented. to Justin anyway. You know?
Yeah.
And so I think Easton's in a great spot. He's probably one of the smartest guys that I've ever played with. Just his ability to process things and how he brings, you know, people with him and makes them better. That was kind of the thing that he made people around him better at NDSU. It's kind of the thing that I remember about him the most, you know, playing with him and everything. But yeah, like I said, he's a smart dude. I think he's doing well for himself, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, he's going to be in the league for a long time just because of those some of those intangibles that he has and just his likeness and, you know, how smart he is. You know, making people better around you and everything is a huge plus.
First guy in, last guy out type mentality.
Exactly.
With Easton.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there's a reason you make it that far. He just seems smart. But I don't want to stay too long on NDSU. But man, I just want to say, from one North Dakotan to a Minnesotan, like, it was so awesome to see the Bison go on that run. And now with Coach Polasek, Coach P back in the building, what do you foresee the Bison doing as Polasek's era begins?
I think just continuing that standard and that culture, kind of like we were saying, like that's kind of his thing, and he understands that community and what it means to the people that have played there before, before me, before, you know, the people in the 90s, you know, all of it. It goes back quite a ways, and so to bring that and to build into that, you know, with the community and the players and helping the current players understand the meaning of that is huge, because it's going to mean that much more to them, you know, when they're done playing. So
you have 4 great years at NDSU. You go undrafted, but I will say this, Ben, before we go even further, one of my favorite players in the world, Priest Holmes, went undrafted. Undrafted players are sometimes some of the best players, some of the best minds. When you don't get drafted, are you like, man, or is your phone ringing off the hook right as the draft ends?
It's kind of crazy, but you know, I at the time that it happened, I was kind of almost numb. Like, you know, you get off the phone when you're going to accept the opportunity in Jacksonville and kind of hang up. And my parents and my sister are sitting there looking at me like, well, what's going on? And I was like, we're going to Jacksonville. And so they're all excited, obviously. And I just kind of sat there and just kind of took it all in. But, you know, obviously every kid wants to hear their name called and everything. I was, you know, not naive to the situation that I was in, that, you know, it probably wasn't likely that it was going to happen, but hopefully get a shot somewhere and an opportunity. And, you know, on top of that, that's when COVID and all that stuff kind of happened and everything. So no preseason games, no off-season program, a lot of Zoom meetings.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of that, a lot of, you know, challenges and adversity to come through there, but tried to do as much as I could. Got the playbook. I just remember me and my dad, you know, I had a whiteboard. He would read off a play to me and I'd write it up or draw it up and stuff back home in Holly.
Yeah.
You know, but and then all of a sudden you get a call. Hey, we got a flight for you on Monday. You know, it's a Saturday, and you got a flight down to Jacksonville on Monday. Pack your bags and everything. And so, kind of away we went, and just tried to do what I could, control what I could control.
Yeah, you're good, buddy. Yeah.
You know, when I got there and everything, and just kind of made the most of it and got an opportunity.
Was Gus Bradley the head coach then?
He was not. No,
he wasn't.
Doug Marone.
Doug Marone.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So you get to Jacksonville. Is there like a memory that sticks out where you're like, damn, this is the league. Here we go.
There might have been a couple. They're, you know, lining up against Josh Allen. You got to, you know, pin him down on a G scheme or something like that. And, you know, he might have put me in the ground a couple of times, but I might have got him once or twice. And so kind of just some of those experiences, you know, going against, you know, JJ Watt or, you know, superstars, you know, you can't get starstruck, you know, in those first couple of games, but just kind of some of those experiences, kind of what I hold on to. But yeah, it was an experience for sure.
JJ Watt, dude, that had to be like, wow, there he is. But they put their cleats on just like you,
exactly.
So anything can happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jacksonville goes okay. Then you make your way back home to Minnesota, and you were telling me before the broadcast, the Vikings have been your favorite NFL team for a very long time. How did that feel to get the call from the Vikings? Be like, hey, we want you to play National Football League for us. That had to have been phenomenal.
Yeah, it was awesome. You know, I get cut, you know, down in Jacksonville, and then, you know, I'm sitting there on the phone with my agent, and he's getting a call, and he's like, hey, let me take this. It's, you know, the GM of the Vikings. And so let him go, sit there for what felt like 3 hours, 4 hours, you know, calls me back in like 5 minutes. He says, well, that was about you. They wanted to, you know, figure out some information about you, but it you know, it sounds like they're going to sign you or claim you to Minnesota. So just kind of get your stuff together and your ducks in an order and whatever. But then a little bit later, you know, GM calls me, said they're claiming me, and I got a flight that night at 10 p.m.
Wow.
So it all happened like that. It was real quick. But yeah, obviously to come back home, parents are excited, family's excited, and everything, and to be a part of the Vikings organization was, dream come true for sure.
Man, how was that first? Was the U.S. Bank built then?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what was the feeling like, dude? Running out into U.S. Bank and the skull. I mean, dude, you had to have shivers.
Yeah. I still get them. You know what I mean? That fan experience and what they do pregame and everything, and the horn, and it's an experience. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's awesome to be back here and to be a part of it. Even still.
Well, one of the big things about your story that I really like and that I think is going to be very beneficial to you is obviously undrafted, going to Jacksonville, kind of learning all these different aspects. You've got the NDSU side of it where you were successful. Now you're in the coaching. Now you're coaching for the Vikings. Take us through retiring from the NFL, then going and getting the call, hey, we want you to come coach with us. We loved you that much. Take us through that.
Yeah, it was a whirlwind. Obviously, he's had some injury stuff.
Yeah.
And kind of decided, because of that just kind of had to hang it up. And so went in, it was in the off-season program, went in and talked to Kevin, and just kind of told him where I was at with things and whatnot. And, it wasn't it didn't feel like a player to coach situation at that time, because he came over and sat by me, and it was more like a friend to friend conversation, which was I thought it was pretty special, to have a head coach like that, to care about you like that. And so, he kind of asked me, well, do you have a plan afterwards, or what's that look like for you? And I had told him that I had wanted to get into coaching, and I did. Even before I got any opportunities in the NFL, that was kind of the plan, is to get into coaching at some point, just because of Tyler Roll and some of those guys that I've had before, the impact that they had on me. But he kind of thought about it. Kevin did kind of thought about it a little bit, and we kind of worked something out to give me a role here, just because just to kind of help me out and see what would become of it. And at that first year, you can have an idea of what coaching is until you actually do it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what that last year was just kind of feeling it out. Did a little bit with the tight ends, helped in that room, and still helping out in that room. Titles, offensive assistant, but kind of piggybacking off of that, this year giving me a little bit more opportunities and things like that to get into the coaching side of things. But it's awesome. It's a lot of hours. It's a grind. Still a lot of learning. I definitely don't know all the answers, and there's a lot of things that I don't know. But the staff, like I said, they're awesome. They've been patient with me, and just answer questions when I ask, and even if they might be dumb ones sometimes. But no, it's been awesome, and it's cool to see. Putting a game plan together and seeing those things kind of come to life and stuff on Sundays. And I'd be lying if I said I didn't miss it, being the player out there running that stuff. But, it's an opportunity to stay a part of it, and that's what I really appreciate.
Well, this year with the Vikings, this is going to come out next week, so we won't know what happens here. But you guys have had a great start. 2-0. Sam Darnold's playing fantastic. Tight end room, you're missing TJ Hawkinson. What's TJ Hawkinson been like in the tight end room, and how do we expect him to come back?
Yeah, no, he's been great. It's when you're dealing with an injury like that, it's probably pretty hard to stay engaged and everything, but he's done a really good job kind of giving advice, giving some feedback to guys when we're watching practice or whatever it is, and he's busting his butt on the side doing stuff with the trainers and trying to get back as soon as he can. But no, he's been great. He likes to joke around with the guys and everything, keeps it light, but at the end of the day, he's been doing a really good job. And I would expect him to come back like he didn't miss a beat at all. He's got that workhorse mentality, and I know he's itching to get back. So I'm excited for him.
What about Sam Darnold? So obviously Sam Darnold didn't have, let's just say, the greatest couple years coming out. Great player to USC. Now he's kind of getting a legit shot, if you will, with the Vikings. Great roster offensively. You got Aaron Jones, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, all these pieces. And now it's like, oh, Sam Darnold's good. We're playing well. What's he been like in practice, and how has he been around everybody?
Yeah, I think he hasn't missed a beat. I think he came in and he's gelled with the guys. obviously super talented, like we've seen, and being in a situation in a part of even part of the organization, like a great organization. They've done a really good job with him in the quarterback room. I don't see as much of that stuff, but he's come in, he's put his head down and listened, taken coaching and everything like that, and it's obviously shown up on game days and stuff. So I'm excited for him and the rest of the season here.
Is there one game, an away game, let's say, that you're really looking forward to? Like, man, I haven't been to that stadium. I kind of like this team. Is there one, thinking of the schedule, that you're like, oh, this is circled on my?
I mean, it's for me, it's always Green Bay. Like you were saying, Lambeau is one of a kind, a lot of history there. And I just remember my rookie year, got to go. We were in Jacksonville, went up to Green Bay, and that was the first. There. So it was the first time that I had been kind of back home, if you say. But yeah, it was the first time I'd been there as well, and so that was just taking that all in, and how rowdy it gets and stuff and everything. So that's always a fun one to go to. I think this year will probably be going back to Jacksonville.
Yeah, there you go.
Just there's some people down there, friends and everything, and old teammates and stuff. So it'll be fun to see some of them. But yeah, just kind of taking it week by week, but those are probably a couple circled on my schedule.
The Aaron Jones thing is going to be awesome, going back to Green Bay. We all know the history there, and he's playing well. And I was talking to you and Dahlman obviously before this, and there just seems like there's a certain excitement in the building. Like a lot of people wrote the Minnesota Vikings off. Now you're playing really well. What's it been like as a coaching staff to be like, yeah, we expected this. We're playing well. We're functioning well. We're practicing really well.
Right. Yeah. I think everybody's just very well connected. The relationships, guys in different position rooms all gel together. There's not drama. There's not a divided locker room or anything like that. I think everybody's has a good relationships with each other, and I think that shows up on Sundays. You want to have a unit that's tight knit like that, and having those connections and relationships with each other only builds into that. And I think a lot of that is a similarity to what I experienced at NDSU. It was about the team, it was about the program, and just trusting that process. Those are all kind of coach speak, if you will, but it was real. It wasn't cliche, because you lived it and you did it. And I think I see that here as well. So it's pretty cool to experience.
Yeah, no, that's well said, man. Well said. Talking to Paul Allen, talking to Dahlman, now talking to you, there's one thing that's been like very clear, is how great Kevin is to everybody. Is there a lesson that you've taken from Kevin here the first couple months being a coach for the Minnesota Vikings that you're like, oh man, I'm going to use this forever?
I think it's that right there, what we were just talking about, the connectedness of the team and the positive culture that he's kind of created here, and having that connected teammates, connected coaches, whether it's we go and do a team activity together somewhere, or just the way that he kind of has built this thing, to have those relationships and to care about players past the player-coach relationship, to care about them as a human. Kind of go back to what my conversation was with him when I decided to retire. Just kind of probably that moment. It was a really good learning experience, and to give guys opportunities like he's given me, to stay a part of it and to be part of this organization is kind of probably something that'll stick with me.
Yeah, no, 100%. Thinking about on my drive over, thinking about your career, thinking about where you've come from, there was one piece that stuck out to me, and how proud your parents must be. They're Minnesota, natives. They've watched with you Viking games on Sundays, watch your career at NDSU. Now you come back to coach with the Vikings. You were just talking about how you and your dad were doing plays on a whiteboard. How proud are your parents, man? What did they say to you when you're like, I'm going to go coach for the Vikings now?
They'd be proud of me,
Yeah.
Either way, even if I was done with it, but obviously they're very excited.
They're
psyched, to be a part of it and to be in a good organization and everything. And so they were actually down this past weekend, but they've taken in a couple games. I think it was last weekend was the first time they actually came on the field pregame. So I think they were pretty excited about that. And like we was talking about, like the fan experience, it's fun. My dad's sitting up there, plugging his ears sometimes just because it gets so loud. But no, I'm just kidding. But he, it's pretty cool. And obviously they're very proud of me, and They've been very supportive of me. NDSU, Jacksonville here. Very blessed to have them.
Heck yeah.
Parents,
It's always good to have good parents. Are you in the booth or on the sidelines?
I'm on the sidelines this year.
So what was the first game, and it can be preseason whenever, but you're on the sidelines, you're reacting to the speed of the game. I mean, it had to be a little bit different. You're like, damn, this is going to be a little bit tougher to dissect than I thought.
Yeah, no, it's nice because you have the pictures on the Microsoft surfaces, and so after the series you can go back and kind of see what happened and whatnot. But there's definitely a speed difference, and sometimes you'll catch yourself looking up on the board because you can't see what's going on, and all of a sudden they're running into the sideline. You got to watch out and get people back. But no, it's fun to be down there, and it's hard to hear, with the headset on and everything, but cool experience.
Well, listen, man, I really appreciate the time. Ben, Swim Lessons is a podcast about overcoming tough times. What is something that you say to yourself in the mirror when you're kind of in a dark room trying to figure out where to go, chips aren't falling your way, and leave us with something that you say to yourself when you're up against it? Yeah,
you just kind of something that came up recently is you got to guard your happiness. You can't allow those things, those things of adversity and stuff to kind of to change you. You just kind of stay the course, and they're going to happen. But that there at the end of the day, there's a bigger purpose, bigger picture, for you, for your life. In the grand scheme of it all, it's a small part, but just kind of got to take the punches as they come.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Good luck the rest of the way, my brother, and keep in touch. That's a wrap.